Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. It's Tuesday the 24th of June 2025. Right, there's a lot of lilac-y purple in here. The Trident is in the garage, and this is to carry out the two sort of bigger jobs on it. One is to replace the front fork oil seals, and the other is to replace a broken spoke in the rear wheel. So I got it to a stage where I rode it over, and it wasn't too bad, but the clutch, even though it's been readjusted again, is dragging a bit, and also the carbs, as always on triples, need tuning a bit too. So we'll do that while we're up here at the same time. Right, so I'm going to get cracking by beginning with the front end. Now, the front fork seals definitely need changing. They're leaking badly, but one of the reasons, certainly on the right-hand one, is that there's quite a lot of damage on this stanchion. So I've got one on order. The one on the other side, there's a bit of a pit right at the top here, but in general it's okay. But one of the things I found is under the dust covers here. What the hell are they? I have no idea why they are there, really. I mean, the trouble is they don't allow the dust covers to sit down properly in their groove. And two, they must, well, they probably won't rattle around a bit with the dust covers down, but I don't know. I've never seen them before. I'll check the parts book again. Don't get it. But anyway, that's an anomaly. So the first thing I need to do, it's on its main stand, the rear wheel's off the ground. I'm going to strap down the rear end so that when I take the front wheel out, it all doesn't come crashing down at the front. And what I'm going to do is, obviously we'll have to remove the right hand stanchion out of the yokes, but the left hand stanchion I shan't, because if I take the bars off, once the top nut's out, I can get the special tool down there with the bars out of the way to hold the dampers and etc. to get a bottom screw out under here to release the slider. Right, let's get it tied down, and let's start getting things undone at the front end. The other thing that's annoying quite well, some of you as well, is this. I mean, it's not leaking. I don't know why it's like that, unless it's been bent deliberately because it's a bit too long. Might see how much a standard pipe is really to replace that. Doesn't look good. The I think, as Matt has pointed out as well, the tacho cable really is a bit long, but it's working all right, so we'll leave that as is for now. Okay, let's get on to it. Okay, the bike strapped down at the rear end, pulled down, so the front wheel's slightly off the floor. Yeah, there we go. Right, first thing I've noticed, just taking the fork end cap off, and there's oil all over it, but that's greeny yellow. That looks like engine oil, not fork oil. So I'm beginning to wonder if slightly thicker oil has been put in to prevent it pouring out. Not sure about that. Don't know why all that oil's there anyway, unless it's leaking out the bottom cap head, which is, I can't show it at the moment, it's right under there. We'll have to see. There's supposed to be a Doughty washer around that to try and seal it. Maybe it's leaking out there too. Anyway, let's crack on and get the front wheel out. Into the light renovation labyrinth we go. Right, as you can see, wheel out, it's okay. Front mudguard off, okay. Generally speaking, correct fittings, some of which we'll renew though because we've got them in stock. Just about to take the caliper off. You can see odd nuts here. Just need to check that out. Got a feeling it should really be a stiff nut. There's a bit of play in the steering head bearings, which I could feel when I was riding it, which is easy enough to tighten up. I think nothing serious, but I was just looking at, I'm not going to do it yet, but just looking at that here, wondering why that's proud like that. I mean, fair enough, if it's sitting on the bearings, we should be okay. Not ideal, but let's see. Got the nuts off for the bars, so we can take those off. That's easy. So yeah, cracking along quite nicely, really. Does help with the old impact driver. Right, next then, let's get this get the caliper off. That'll determine actually whether this is just twisted or whether it's been bent like that. Anyway, we've taken off the fitting here, the bracket's loose, so yeah, we'll just take this caliper off and see what that braided pipe looks like straightened out. The bars are out, and I've just left one clamp stud in and twisted them, and in that way then the bars won't be flopping all over the place, but then we do have access to the two top nuts, and it means then that we can get the special tool straight down the middle, which is what we need to get certainly this slider off. We're going to take that fork out altogether because we want to replace the stanchion. Now I've just emptied the left hand fork leg, and not including some that I spilt, that's what's come out. I have no idea what that oil is at all. It is thin though. I mean, God, it almost looks as though it's brake fluid. Anyway, we'll soon find out if it starts ripping up paint. But there looks to be too much to me. Anyway, it had some in. Maybe that's contributing to the seals leaking, really, because to be honest, these look like the double lip seals, and they don't look too bad. But anyway, we've got this far, we're going to change them. Certainly this one's going to be bad because of all the damage on the stanchion. Right, we'll just dispose of that oil in inverted commas, and then we'll see what we get out of this side. Yep, same out the other side, and about the same volume. I'll check up capacities on the forks. I can't remember. I've got a funny feeling, is it 175cc? But anyway, we'll check it out. But what that is, I don't know, but better out than in, I think. Right, fork top nut off time. Okay, we're about an hour and 20 minutes in, and there we go. Biggest job done. Right hand fork leg out, ready for stanchion replacement and a new oil seal. It came out okay. The way I do it is they're always bloody stiff, so I drift them out. So I get a socket that's exactly the same OD as a stanchion and then drift it out from the top. Once the, obviously we'd already taken out the pinch bolt and the bottom yoke, but I also noticed there was no pinch bolt, which is an Allen, on the top yoke, and I would imagine that probably goes for the other side. Yes, it does, so we need them. But the good news is that the fork top nuts are in great condition. They haven't been mashed about with at all. So that's good news. So they were easy enough to get out with 7/16 Allen, kind of given to me by Matt. Thank you, Matt. Here it is in use again. Right, I'm gonna have a cup of tea, and might have to come back to this tomorrow. But next job is to dig out the special tool that goes down the centre of the stanchion. And effectively, it's an extended screwdriver, a T handle screwdriver, and it slots into the top of the shuttle valve tube inside here that stabilizes it, so you can get an Allen key on a cap head right in the center under there, just to undo that, and then the slider comes off. In fact, let's have a look on this fork leg. There it is inside there. We've got to undo that, and that's screwed into the shuttle valve tube, which I say we have to stabilise with a long screwdriver because it's got a slot in the top of it. Right, we'll come back in the next clip to get on with that. Well, as the kettle's on, I thought I'd dig it out, and actually it was near the top of my special tools box. So here it is, T-bar, and it's not a straightforward slot at the other end. It's sort of that strange sort of, sorry, it's not focusing very well. There it is. There we go. It's that strange sort of radius slot. And you can see how far it goes down. Probably around up to about there. Anyway, now we'll go have a cup of tea. Right, there we go. Just spent 20 minutes or so just stripping the stanchion. So first of all, got the slider off the stanchion we're leaving in place because that's in good condition. And there's our slider for the brake side. And those are the seals, which to me don't look bad, but they don't look as though they're seated properly. And also, it's not so bad on this one, but they are slightly skew with. That's not so bad. The other leg, however, the right leg, now then, can I get this in the right position? Yeah, there we go. Look at that, skew with. Now these are double lip seals. I haven't got these in stock. I've only got the original single lip seal, so that's what we're going to use. But with good quality stanchions, or say good condition stanchions, and also fitting them properly so that they're square, we should be all right. Now you can see as we're stripping the right hand leg, then I've taken the damping tube out. So this damping tube with its lock nut at the bottom goes up into the stanchion. This then slides onto the bottom of the stanchion, and that cap head goes through the bottom of the slider and screws into there, which is inside the stanchion, i.e. on this one it screws into here. Now certainly on the on my BSAs that I've restored, there's supposed to be a Doughty washer here to prevent oil seeping out the hole in the bottom of the slider for the cap head. But I don't, unless they're stuck inside there somewhere, we'll have a dig around. I don't think they are, and that would explain why we saw oil around the spindle and in the caps, fork cap ends, slider cap ends. So there we go. So we're obviously ready, next stage, to replace the oil seals in the sliders, and then also this afternoon we've got a new stanchion arrived. So, oh, and also I think Matt pointed out that we didn't have the little tiny rubber buffer that slots into the back of the frame that allows the airbox to sit on it, and it stops the airbox drooping, which it used to could do on earlier models. I thought it'd be bigger than that though. Anyway, that just slots into a horizontal bracket on the frame, as I say, for the airbox to sit on it so the carbs don't droop. Right, let's unpack this slider and we can make sure it's the right one, but it is supposed to be for 73 on disc brake models, which is what we've got. Right, give me a sec. Right, there's the new slider. It's the right length, threaded at each end, and slightly wasted at the top end, which is correct. So, all good. And these are the replacement original oil seals that I've got in stock. I thought I had more than this, but I've only got a pair left. And they are sort of double lipped, so that's good. They are earlier than these, but they'll do the job. So these, you basically just take a screwdriver really and just lever them out, taking care not to damage the rim. So that'll be the next job. There we go, seals out, easy peasy. Just clamped loosely in a vise with a lot of padding. It's not tight, as you can see. It's just to prevent side to side play, so you can then get a good lever in there like a long screwdriver and doof, gently keep going all the way around to loosen it off, and then it comes out without any damage to these rim edges, which I have seen in bikes in the past, like the Jubilee Bonnie we did, that had been damaged. Now there we are, the old seals. Now when I took one of these out, the sealing spring wasn't seated properly, and these actually don't look in bad condition. They're still fairly soft, but we'll replace them anyway. Now they look a bit different is because they've got rubber on the outside, and that was a modification by the factory, because they found that with these original seals, and where's the spring? There's the spring, so the spring goes that way around. With the original seals put in, oil was getting up on this metal to metal face on the outer face, but what we'll do is we'll seat these with a thin smear of silicone sealer around the outside, but also they're fairly clean, but we will just dress the surfaces up a little bit before we put this in. And same with the other one, although it's peeing oil still, this disgusting oil. So we're getting there quite quickly. So it's now sort of evening time, but we'll back on this tomorrow, and then we'll rebuild the forks, put the front end back together, and then we can attack other things. We've got the spoke to do then in the rear wheel, but I have begun to take things out of the centre here because, well, firstly I can show you, you can see the little bracket there with a hole in it, and that's where the little rubber buffer sits for the airbox to sit on. But I'm just checking the slides and that in the carbs, and I think I'm going to take the carbs off again and do a bit of cleaning on them, because one cylinder wasn't very happy. Acceleration wise it was fine, but then when you're sort of cruising along, it wasn't chiming in really with the other cylinders. I'm also checking the tappets. Now it's had a decent run since we did the tappets, so I'm just checking those again to make sure nothing's moved and settled in, seeing as though it's apparently had its head and barrels off before the family got it back. Right, that's it for this evening. See you tomorrow. Right, back on to finish off the front end. Let's get that done first. So I've inserted the new right-hand stanchion, fits a treat, slid up pretty well, and then needed a bit of tapping through the top yoke, but we're there, and it's left just slightly short so that when the top nut is in, it's flush. And what I've also done as well is I've inserted the damper tube and screwed that in. So we've now got two forks that are in the same state, if you like, ready for the sliders. Now with the sliders, again, I keep checking for any sign of the Doughty sealing washer. Now I've got to wipe these out yet. You're not going to see very much on that, but with the torches, etc., I can't see any evidence of one. So I just wanted to check online. So here's the parts book drawing, and there's the washer there, number 35. That is a Doughty washer. So there should be one on each side. So again, that probably explains with them not being there. One, that somebody's already been in here, which is borne out by other things that we've found, and two, it explains why we're getting a bit of a leak around the wheel spindle. The other thing to note as well is that at the slider top we've got the oil seal and the dust cap, but no sign of what on earth those rings were. So again, signs that somebody else has been in here. I have no idea what these are from or what they were intending them to function as. If anybody can shed any light and address my ignorance, I'd appreciate it. Whether they were put on there maybe to try and disguise oil leaks, I can't see why, because they're a bit sloppy. They prevent the dust caps from seating properly. So I've no idea what the thought process was around those. Right, I'm going to have another go. I've got to clean these sliders out because there's a bit of sludge in the bottom of them, and we'll have another dig around to see if there's any evidence of a Doughty washer that I'm missing. But once we've done that, we'll get the oil seals, new oil seals in, which will be just mounting these lightly in the vise, and then using a bit of a wood square on to basically tap these in. As I say, we'll use a bit of a silicone sealer around the rim once we've cleaned this up to prevent it leaking on the outside diameter of the seal. Right, both sliders got the new oil seal in, nice and flush and square. Yeah, pleased with that. So now we need to locate a couple of Doughty washers. I'm pretty sure I do have some in stock somewhere. Let's hope. Nope, no Doughty washers in stock, so I've ordered a couple of pair because I might need them for later projects like the B50SS. So unfortunately we have to leave the sliders for now. We can move on to other things. In the meantime, just checking out fork leg capacities for oil, and of course the clues on the top nut covers. 190cc, which I should bloody well know, and 230cc and a Hurricane. There you go, for extended forks. So 190cc is just a third of a pint, and there was definitely a damn sight more than a third of a pint in each of these fork legs when we stripped them. Right, okay, so we need to get some fork oil as well. In the meantime then, we'll go back onto other things. I can't take the rear wheel out and start on the replacement spoke on that because I've got it strapped down. But what we can do is start to look at these carbs in a bit more detail and say do some checking around the engine. So we'll do that next. So what we'll do is, there's probably enough clips and content for now on this one, so we'll conclude that as another part, and we'll be back on this in short order when the Doughty washer's around. Okay everybody, thanks for your interest, thanks for watching, and any comments, and see you again soon with plenty to do. Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Thursday the 26th of June 2025. Right, we're on with carrying on with the T150 Trident. We're slightly suspended on the front end. We're just waiting for a couple of Doughty washers, and also I needed to order some fork oil, which is ATF, as recommended by BSA Triumph at the time. I think what might have come out, that bloody horrible greeny grey stuff, might have been what was branded a Castrol fork oil, because normally ATF is red. But anyway, we've ordered the correct stuff. Sorry about the background noise, but it's good. It's my neighbour's got a Panther Callista with standard straight through pipes. I think it's on a 6-cylinder Ford. Sounds to me as though he's not having a happy time. But anyway, because the front end's suspended, and we can't do the back end yet until we've done the front end because we've got it strapped down, we're just going to do some checks around the engine, which, as I said in the previous video, we'll check in the tampets, but also I'm going to take the carbs off, and I might ultrasonically clean them as well, because there was one cylinder that was messing around a bit, hence doing a bit of checking around. So it could either be, you know, the plug stroke ignition, which I don't think so, because when you opened it up it was fine, accelerated well. It was just when you're trying to cruise, etc., it was wasn't on song at all on one cylinder. So I think it's either got I think it's probably fuel. I'm pretty sure it is. So let's get the carbs off. Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. It's Sunday the 29th of June 2025. Right, on with the Trident. Now, I was hoping this weekend I could have put this front end back together. Everything's ready to go, except for the fact I need the Doughty washers that go inside the sliders up against the damper tubes, effectively on the other side of these 5/16 cap heads. And this is what I was sent. With the correct part number. Was it 974004, something like that. So I had to ping them and say, want to return, etc. And they apologised, blah de blah, I'll get the proper ones in the post. But the trouble is, they ain't going to be here until Wednesday, because they're not posting them until tomorrow. So that's stalled at the minute, front end, which is very frustrating. Even more frustrating is because I've got it tied down at the back end to hold up the front end. I can't get the rear wheel out. So, we're on with other bits and pieces, just to check around the bike following, you know, its run around and stuff. It was a bit of a test. So I finished checking all the tappets. To be honest, the exhaust ones were a little bit tight, but the inlets were fine, but that job's done. And as you can see, I've taken off the carb rack, and that's because when I'm riding the bike, you know, cruising along, etc., it's only really on 2 cylinders. If you open the throttle up, it chimes up on 3, and on tick over it seems to be on 3, but not mid-range. So the rack's off, and as you can see, I've taken one carb off to check the slide and the needle position, but also I am going to strip these carbs and take the opportunity to put them in the ultrasonic cleaner. You can see they're replacement carbs, they're not the originals. They should be all right, but we'll just check everything out. You can see there's a few little things like this. Well, I don't think that would have affected it, although it hasn't got an O-ring. Okay, well, we're beginning to find things that might affect it now. I hadn't noticed that. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to have those and the O-ring. Probably, but I can check. Anyway, it'll be in the parts book. But the other thing I've found as well is that that nut there was only finger tight. And, you know, with it, we're not, if all of these haven't got O-rings and some nuts are finger tight, that's going to affect it too. So maybe we're getting down to the root cause. We just needed to do a check over it, clean, put back together, and I think we'll be fine. Right, so I'll get the other 2 carbs off, and then we'll start taking them to pieces, see what's inside, but see if we can see any more misdemeanors like this and that. Right, that's stripped ready for the ultrasonic cleaning, which won't be today. Might be tomorrow, not sure. But anyway, what have we found? Well, I think I'm going to get some carb rebuild kits for these, because certainly one of the gaskets was in poor condition. I damaged it a bit getting it off, but it wasn't very good. One of these, well, first of all, we need to check whether we need these or not. I can't remember. I think you do, in addition to O-rings. But one of them's a Bakelite and not the usual softer gasket material. That's a Bakelite or Tufnol sort of heat insulation gasket. Very nice, but probably not right. None of the carbs have got O-rings, so we'll sort that out. Everything else looks okay, to be honest. The float heights are all even. Obviously I'm doing a fairly rough sort of manual physical test by how far the floats come up with the float tangs pressing down on the needle to close it, and they're all a little bit high, but they're all the same. So I think we're okay with that. And they're certainly not excessively high anyway. And one of the jets looked as though it was a little bit clogged up, one of the main jets. So I've blown them all out, and they do look clearer now. But anyway, we'll give everything a go in the ultrasonic cleaner. We'll put the floats in too to make sure they do float, but I'm sure that's they're okay, and we'll take it from there. All the slides are 3.5 cutaway. All the needles are certainly in the same position. Now, before I took these apart, and when we were putting the air cleaner on originally on this bike and the carbs were off, I did check that these slides were all roughly in the same position, and being sort of pulled up, sort of levitated evenly with the cables. Drawn up is probably the term. And a lot of people use the cocktail stick method with the bike when they're in situ, etc., to gauge where the cutout is through on the air filter carb side. But I don't do that. I turn them over and check the flats on the back side. It's a much more accurate test to make sure you can actually synchronize all these on the adjusters. Right, we'll leave that there for now, and when I come back with the next clip, I'm not absolutely sure what we'll be doing, but in the meantime we'll get the carb rebuild kits on order. Okay, a day or two later, we've got the correct Doughty washers from a couple of suppliers now, because I do need some for other projects later, hopefully. So now we can swim in them. That's a bit better. Right, we've also got a couple of new dust covers, proper original rubber ones. Not these modern, well, I don't know what the material is now, sort of a neoprene type stuff that doesn't last. So, getting back to this then, we can now try and install the sliders. And just to remind you that we've obviously got the damper rods in, new stanchion in on the right hand side. I've got the springs in with the fork cap nuts screwed down, and that's to hold the damper rods in place so they're not going up and down against the spring. I know that obviously I'm going to have to take the fork top nuts off once the sliders are on, so we can actually fill them with oil. And obviously I've got, where is it? There it is, look, it's the Cabochar, the best of kitchen utensils to measure accurately 190cc of Castrol TQF. And the reason why I've got this, it's automatic transmission fluid, but that's what's recommended, and that'll probably be red. So we'll measure out some of that, and then we'll compare it to a jar full of each that we got out of each leg of what oil that was in that, which I have a suspicion it's a thinnish oil, and it might be what they call Castrol, just generic fork oil. But anyway, so what we've got to do is we've got to just lube up these stanchions a little bit so we can slide the oil seals over. But first of all, we've got to put the dust covers on. If we forget them, then that's the end of that. We'll try and start the bottom cap head on this, because they're not turning, but to actually fully tighten them up once we've got them going, then yeah, we will be taking the fork top nuts off anyway. And yeah, what we must do with these little Doughty washers before we put the sliders in is sit them right down in the bottom there, and then put the cap head through there to hold it in position while we slide it up. Have the correct Allen key in place, and while we're holding it, we can try and get the thread to catch, and then we're okay. Right, I'm going to get on with that, and I'll bring you back when we're there. Right, there you go, 5 minutes later. Managed to start the cap head with the damper tube being held taut by the fork spring. But then I took the cap nut off, put down the special tool to lock into the slot internally to lock the damper rod, and then I got another 1/4 of a turn on the Allen, so that's nice and tight, and the Doughty washer is inside the other side of the bottom of this fork leg, so we're all good. So now we'll take the tool out and we'll measure out 190cc, maybe a little bit more because a little bit oil is left in the jug, so maybe 200cc's, and let's see how much that is compared to what was in the jar. Well, I'll take it all back actually. So that's 200cc's or just under of TQF, and what we had that came out was nearly a jar full of the old stuff. I know it's difficult to visualise to a certain extent, but if I put that in there, I think it'll just about fill it up to the top. So maybe there was the right amount. I mean, it should be really, because it's pretty obvious when you read it on top of the fork cap nut. Right, we'll get that in and we'll get one fork done, and we'll do exactly the same the other side. So I'll bring you back when we've got all that sorted. There you go, forks done, and for good measure had to put the mudguard on. Also put the caliper pack on with new nuts and washers. And for those of you who've been complaining, where the hell's it gone? I've lost it. Damn me. Anyway, we've replaced the braided stainless twisted brake hose that I wasn't too confident was sealing properly. We got pretty much bugger all fluid out of the system, which is a bit worrying since I rode this bike here. The brake was working but didn't feel too good. Now we know the reason why. What on earth I've done with that stainless brake hose, I don't know. Oh, of course it's on the vise because I'd take the nut off. There it is. I don't know what's happened to it in the past, but certainly been badly twisted, and look how gnarled up the fittings are as well. So anyway, there we go, proper original hose, and that's a lot better. Right, we'll leave it there. For the time being, I call it a day on this video. I think that's more than long enough. And when we get back on the next one, we'll hopefully be in a position to put the wheel in, get the fork end caps on, and then complete fitting the mudguard and the chrome cover, and that'll be the front end done. But we'll leave it like this for now because I just want to make sure that those cap heads under there are not leaking any ATF. I think we're all good for the moment. Right, there we go guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for all your interest, comments, subscriptions, etc. See you all again soon. Hi all, Angus Campbell here, Friday the 4th of July 2025. Right, cracking on with the Trident. So next job, well, just to quickly finish off the front end first. So we'll do a bit of tidy up around here because the next thing is the wheel to go in, and then we can put the fork end caps on, and then we can secure down the bottom stays on the mudguard, and then we'll bleed the brake. Right, tidy up and clear oil down first. That's better. God, you feel so much better when it's tidier. Tidied up the tools as well. Don't look at that lot yet. Right, let's get the wheel in and say fork caps on. Need to give them a wipe down. Still got this oil in that was seeping out the bottom of the fork sliders. Before I took them off, I labelled them left and right, and that's because if you don't put them on the same way around, assuming they were correct in the first place, then if you're not very careful tightening them up properly, evenly and stuff, they can crack, so we want to avoid that. So I always put them back the same way around. Right, let's clean them up, get the wheel in, and then we'll try and find some brake fluid, because none of my bikes have got hydraulics. Could be fun. Right, there we go. Front end just about complete. I say just about. Everything's buttoned up down here. Wheel spins freely. That's good. We've got to put some new brake fluid in and bleed the front brakes, so that's easy enough from here. The reason I say just complete is because I've adjusted the steering head bearings, but I've left the bars loose, as you can see, because we haven't got the correct washers and cups on the top end here. So I'm going to source some. But I've got ahead of myself without talking to you too much, and that is I've taken the silencers off to prepare the way for getting the back wheel out. Now, there was an odd bit of bracketry on this left hand side, which is why I've taken the brackets off as well and not just taken the silencer off this bracket at the rear footrest. And that's because you can see this triangular bracket here which goes onto the frame, reaches across, and that's for the footrest mount and also the silencer bracket to go onto there. But there was also this piece that was on there, like so, just basically doing nothing. And I was intrigued by that, and I don't think we need that. I think that is a remnant bracket from perhaps this bike having the ray gun silencers on it. Is that a ray gun silencer mounting? I don't know, but anyway, it's superfluous. And in fact, there wasn't one present on this side. We've got the same triangular bracket going up to the rear footrest mount, which goes onto also mounts up the silencer bracket. So I just took the rear footrest off on this side, and that was fine. So I'm way ahead of myself now, just preparing to take the rear wheel out. So we're all ready to bash the being, you know, a rather clumsy word. Ready to take the rear spindle out and take the rear wheel out so we can address that spoke. So we're getting on pretty well. Right, I've got to go out this afternoon, so that's it for today. But back again soon to carry on, because in parallel with us messing about with the back wheel, I want to fill up the ultrasonic cleaner. It's all cleaned out, ready to go. Just got to fill it, get these carb bodies in to give them a clean, but also what's arrived as well, some carb rebuild kits which have come with the ethanol resistant floats, which we'll use, because we can also set the float height easy with those as well. Right, that's it for today. I'm gonna get a cup of coffee, then I'm out, and see you in the next clip. Right, next day, and I got my finger up my backside and put some new fluid in the ultrasonic cleaner. She's warming up, getting there. Set to 55, up at 42 at the minute, but just about ready really to get cooking. So I'll give them 2 good goes. Carb bodies, float bowls and jets in the basket. Ouch. Come here. Lid on. Right, we shall set that to 15 minutes. I usually give them 2 goes at 15 minutes. So first 15 minutes, get them out, shake them around a bit, put them back in, just to disturb any sort of loosened material and get rid of it. Off we go. And actually with the ultrasonics on, I usually find that it's quicker to warm up, so the temperature's already started to creep up. Right, leave that to cook. Right, that's one batch of cooking done, and you can see she's just about up to the temperature I'd set it to, so that's good. We'll just give her a little bit of a shake around. It's quite warm. Coming up well though. That's good. Ouch. It is hot. Clang. And another 15 minutes. They do recommend with these that you shouldn't have the ultrasonics on for too long a spell, otherwise it might burn them out. So that's why I set it to 15. Right, we're off. Okay, that's those cooked and cleaned, and we'll just leave them there to cool down and dry out. But they're certainly looking a lot cleaner. Why can't I see down that hole? Oh, we can see down that one. Bear with me, I'm just going to check these out. There was just a bit of fluid left in, and there we go. You can see through that one now. Better if you do it that way around. There you go. And through the needle. Can we see through that? Bear with me. Yeah, we can now on all of them. There you go. Right, let's say we'll let them dry out properly, and then we'll start putting the carbs back together. And then at the same time, we're just in the process of getting the rear wheel out, so I've got everything ready to just to take that brake arm off. Just there, I've got that nut off, and we're ready to pull the spindle then. Oh, got to take the chain off too, but we're just about there with that. Right, a couple of days later, I've reassembled the carbs with the new rebuild components, and got new filters, O-rings, and the fuel line, what is it? Fuel line Boss washer ready to go on each of the carbs. I've cleaned up the faces, mating faces, and we're not going to go with the replacement for the originals because I haven't got them on my Rocket 3. We'll just put a smear of instant gasket on the mating face, and then the O-ring and the carb, new O-ring and the carb, and we're good to go. So I'll just get those assembled back onto the rack. Right, there we are. That's that done, all back together with new gaskets, washers, petrol filters, O-rings, ethanol resistant floats and needles, and drain plugs and washers. I think that's about it. I've also balanced up the slides. Two of them were fine, but the left-hand carb, that slide was slightly high. Now, as I say, I don't do it with the cocktail stick method on this side. I do it from the back side because it's a lot easier. You can't see in this light very well, but believe me, it's a lot easier from this side to see exactly when the slide just opens, and it's easier to balance it up then than with the cutaways on the other side. That's the way I do it. I mean, there's more in-depth there's a more in-depth view of carbs, etc. on previous videos I've done, one of which was tuning up Nigel Deacon's Rocket 3, the late Nigel Deacon's Rocket 3, on behalf of his brother Mark. So, there we are. Right, they're ready to go back on, but in the meantime, let's just see if we can get that rear wheel out, and then that's ready to be attacked once we've got the carb rack back on. Well, as you can no doubt see, got the wheel out, no problem at all actually. Everything was nice and free, spindle, etc. So she came out a treat. Now then, this is going to be a bit more difficult than I thought. So, with the broken spoke that we knew we had, which is this one, then I can thread a new spoke in, but it's going to have to, that's where it needs to be screwed in with its nipple, and I can't get it past this right hand spoke, which I probably need to undo. But the worst news is, just checking around the other spokes, that one just came straight off its nipple. So that nipple is going to be impossible to use because I ain't drilling out and messing about. Luckily, it's the same type of spoke as the other one, i.e. left-hand inner, and we bought a pack of 10 luckily, so we've got those, but I need now to get some nipples, and undoubtedly I'm going to need to take this tyre off probably, I think, and we'll probably start from there. So unfortunately this tyre has got security bolts as well, and there's one of them near where we need to be, right in the plumb centre actually, in between the two probably that we're addressing. So everything needs to come off, I think. So I'm just undoing the security bolts now, and we'll get the tyre off and take it from there, and then figure out if I can actually lace a new spoke in both positions without having to try and bend them and mess about like that, because you shouldn't be doing that. So I'm going to need to do a bit of research as well. So let me do that and I'll come back. I don't know when. Right, so we've got a couple of spokes to replace then, and looking it up online, we should be able to do individual spokes. We might have to bend them a little to get them in and then straighten them out and then tension them up, which should be okay apparently. So that's what we'll do. So I've started to take the tyre off. Got the trusty old heavy duty tyre levers plus a handy screwdriver for those awkward moments, and managed to start it, so we should be off on one side. And the reason why I've done it on this side is the spokes, both the broken spokes are on the other side. I think they're left-hand inners, and the latest culprit is this one, which is broken off right at the nipple there. I might have said this already, but anyway, I've got nipples on order. These are 10 gauge spokes. Got nipples on order and they should be here tomorrow. So I'm taking the tyre off on this side so I can push it across from the other side and hopefully be able to reveal the nipples, etc., underneath the rim tape without taking the tyre all the way off. But let's see how we get on, because we've got to get round to these security bolts yet, so we need to see if they behave. So I'll carry on taking off this side and see what we'll get to. Yep, it's all going to be good. So we can lift the tyre and the rim tape sufficiently well to get at the and move the tyre across to get at the spokes and that. So this is the broken one in question, so we can just lift that out when we're ready. So I'm just waiting for the nipples, which should be here in the next couple of days, and then we can finish that job. So that's good. And then in the meantime, we'll get the carb rack back on. Right, before we put the carbs on, we've just corrected something that Matt noticed, in that and these aren't on the Rocket 3, so that's my excuse. There's a little lug on the frame, and that takes this little rubber buffer that the airbox sits on if required, so it doesn't droop too much. It shouldn't do anyway if everything's tight, but anyway, we invested in one and there it is, fitted. So I hope that appeases a few of you. Right, let's get them in. Right, there we go, carb rack all on, fitted up. Routed the choke cables as before, and tyre wrapped the junction box just on the battery carrier there, so we've got some nice, reasonably straight lines for the cables, so it does work okay without sticking. There we go. Need to adjust up the throttle cable just yet, but that's fine. But and also what we'll need to do when we fire it up, obviously, is we've reset the slide height slightly on the rack. Well, one of them anyway. So no doubt we'll have to adjust the idle bit, but that's dead easy on these. Right, so we can get on to the rear wheel now. We've got the nipples as well. So just before we do that, removed the sprocket. The sprocket teeth are in good condition, that's good. All that is just filth that's on it, so we'll clean that up. And in general, as he squeezes by everything else in this garage, in general everything's good at the back, except it just needs a bit of a clean up. Bit oily around there, but we'll check everything out, clean it up, and then we'll get these spokes in. Now, as I say, the good news is we're going to be able to do it with just one bead off on this side, and the only, oh excuse me, sniffing, the only issue that we're going to have is that to get a sort of single spoke in, here we are, here's the second broken spoke that we found that has broken off right at the edge of the nipple. I'll show you the nipple in a minute because I've taken it out the top side. But as you can see, you can't actually insert or remove spokes without slightly bending them past one of the spokes, so the spoke then has a straight line run this way to get it out of that hole. So we'll have to do that. Looked it up online, etc., and that's the way you have to do it. And to insert it again, you have to bend the spoke slightly, put it in, and then straighten it. So that's the way we'll do it. So I'm going to get on with that now. Before I do that, let me just show you that nipple. The first spoke that we found was actually it was broken. The original one that we found had broken just here, which is quite common apparently around that bend or right at the end. But the second one, here's the nipple, and look where it's broken off. So there's no way you mess about drilling that and buggering about. We've got new nipples. So let me get those two spokes in now, and then it's just a case of re-inflating the tyre. I did remove the Schrader valve, which is here. I'll put that somewhere safer actually, just to keep the air out of it. Insert the Schrader valve, pump it up. I've got a little compressor, so I'll pump it up to about 40 pounds or so. We'll put a bit of lubricant around the bead just so it seats, but anyway, one job at a time. The other thing as well is the brake surfaces and the shoes are good. Just need to clean up this side of the drum as well. The main side of it has come up fairly well after removed all that cracked original lacquer. Okay, enough waffling on, let's get on with it. Right, just a quick clip to show you that I've got the spoke in. This is the new spoke. You can see there's a slight bend in it. You can't avoid doing that to get a single spoke in past the other spokes, etc. The nipple's on, new nipple's on, so I've just got to screw that down, and then depending on how much the spoke protrudes at the end of the nipple, once it's screwed down, we'll just need to grind that off a little possibly. But anyway, as we do that up, it should pull that straight. You can see there's not much of a bend in it at all. So not as bad as I thought it was going to be actually. So that should be fine. Okay, nearly there. That's the first new spoke. Tightened up, but we just need to finish it off with a spanner on this side. It's not going to be too long on the inside, I don't think. But if you just do the bit dull, so we need to tighten that up a bit more. Right, spanner on, let's get going. Okay, we're there. That's the new spoke. Happy with that. And also on this side here, there's no spoke protruding, so spot on. Right spokes, right nipple. Actually, the nipple's slightly heavier duty, so I just had to take the hole out a little bit, but that's good. Right, we'll do the other one, which is, where is it? Where's the missing one? I've probably got a spoke in there, but I can't see it now. Where the hell is it? Bloody, bloody, blah. Here it is. Yeah, that's it there. So I'm just going to take that out. Okay, spin it around there, do the same thing. There we go, second new spoke in, and look at that. No filing required, beautifully flush. And where's my screwdriver? New spoke. Tension good, fantastic, really pleased with that. Right, what I'll do now is just going to wipe round the rim tape. I've got Swarfiga handy actually. I'll put a bit of Swarfiga around the beads on the all sides. Put the Schrader valve back in, reseat the bead, and then we've just got to tighten up the retighten the security bolts, and then we should be all good. And then we'll do cleaning up. Right, tyre on and seated, security bolts done up. I had to pump it up to about £55, but you can see the I don't know whether you can see that line all the way around. It's a good indicator of it being even all the way around. Valve secure. It's now at about £29.5, slightly more than it should be, and we'll just leave it there and start cleaning everything up and keep checking it to make sure it's staying up okay, and make sure we haven't nipped the tube and stuff like that, because as always it'd be a disaster thinking everything's okay, put it all back together and then the tyre goes down. Ugh. Right, let's do a bit of cleaning up of this wheel and also swinging arm, etc., while the wheel's out, etc., and then we'll put it back on a bit later on. Give it an hour or so. Right, been doing a bit of cleaning, and she's looking quite well. The rear wheel looks a bit better on camera actually than it actually is, especially from a distance. But I've also cleaned up that side. It's not perfect, but it's an awful lot better. And famous last words, but she seems to be holding at 28 psi okay, but we're not putting her on yet. Of course, we've got the sprocket to put on, so I've cleaned that up. Come for treat. I say teeth are in good nick, so that's good. I have to use the same bolts, but I do have new nuts, so that's good. Done a bit more cleaning up of the back end. This isn't going to be perfect, but basically it was to degrease it and get all the muck off the end of the far end of the swinging arm, etc. Still a bit to do on that main stand and that, so I put a bit of degreaser around there, but generally we're on the way. So I'm going to leave the tyre this afternoon for a couple of hours actually. Probably nip out and run some errands, etc., but I want to make sure that that's fine before we put it back in. So another little job that I want to do is going back to the warning lights on the headlights and also the main beam. There's something wrong with the main headlight bulb or the connection on the back of it, because you have to tap it to put the dip beam on, and then its main beam's not working at all now, and neither is the main beam warning light. So let's take that headlight off and lower the bike a bit, and we'll have another play. Okay, sprocket's on, so she's ready to go on. What I also didn't show you is that I've just painted up the rear brake plate. It was rough, and it's just a quick and dirty job, but it's brightened it up no end. Right, so I'm now going to put the wheel in. So on the right hand side we've obviously got the speedo drive. Outside of the speedo drive we've got the chain adjuster, we've got the spindle nut, and we've got the spacer that goes inside the speedo drive, so we must remember that. In fact, that speedo drive just needs a bit of a clean before we do that. And then on this side we've got the chain adjuster, but we've got the obviously the brake plate, but what we mustn't forget is this reinforcement spacer, if you like, which actually goes on the brake plate like that. So it needs to come over here. This is a bit I hate really doing this, but anyway, it usually goes together all right. There's just lots of things to remember. Where should we put that? Up there, out the way. Right, I'm going to get on with this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to spare you the blasphemy and swearing. Right. Yeah, clean up speedo drive first, get the wheel over, let's get it in. I know, I know, I've jumped ahead. I was too busy completing bits and pieces on it that I didn't take any clips. So, anyway, what was I saying last? I've forgotten what I said in the last clip now. But anyway, silencers all back on with the correct brackets. No superfluous brackets. The new headlight bulb came, so that's all working. Yeah, that's dip, and that's main, and even the main beam warning lights on, so that's good. Side works fine. Indicators, here we go. Indicator warning light working, of course. Oil pressure warning lights working, so that's good. I did give it a bit of a test run last night, and it was fluffing around a bit, but then I realised, well, hang on a minute, I haven't adjusted the tick over or anything yet. So once I did that, it was a lot better. So I think we're good. So the very last thing, oh, bled the front brake, by the way. I haven't forgotten to do that. So I just used the usual pipe into a jar. Slowly bled it by squeezing in the lever, and then you tighten this nipple, let the lever out slowly, untighten it, squeeze, etc. And so we're all good and tight. Actually, I haven't checked it since yesterday. Yep, plenty of feel on that. That's good. I also, this damn thing was annoying me, this footrest. I mean, look a bit higgledy-piggledy anyway, but it was still a bit loose, even though I tried to tighten it up before. So whenever I kicked it over or did anything to it, it just used to flop. So I've managed to squeeze another washer in there just to give it a bit more tension on the spring washer. So that's all good. So I think we're all ready to just about take it off the stand. But there's one final job that was just annoying me, and that is the number plate mounting at the back here. And it's not supposed to be at that angle, the number plate, and that's because the brackets are on the wrong way around. Bottom one should be at the top, so then the number plate is at more of this sort of angle and is illuminated then from the light underneath. If they come undone, all right, and they might not, these two will, but it's the ones in the mudguard down there and down there. If they don't come undone cleanly, then it could be a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, we'll get the impact driver on it, see if we can get that sorted out, just to tidy it up. So for some reason this backing plate has been put onto the brackets, and then the number plate is secured to this backing plate by just 2 of the plastic sort of screws and nuts that you normally see. So I don't know why they've done that rather than just drill 4 holes in the number plate to secure it, which is the idea, but anyway, never mind, we'll keep it like that. And then I say we just need to reverse these. This needs to be the other way around and there. So let's see if we can get these off. I mean, the securing nuts and bolts are all 10mm, so they're not originals, but we'll keep them if they come off all right. There you go. That looks tons better. And yeah, I did have to cut off one of those original bolts, as always the last one. But that's much better that way around. So the number plate sits a bit more vertical. Right, there we go. She's done, and I'm hoping to ride her over to the owner's later today and retrieve the old Lightning, which has been sitting in their garage patiently. I'll take a final clip of her running once I get to the other end. There she is. Let's try and I'm not going to get a very good one from the other side, but you'll get the impression. Basically pretty tidy. Yep, looking good. And she will be for sale. So any interested parties, give me a shout. There you go. She's off the bench and outside. Before we take her round to the owners later today. Which one do you prefer? Well, here we are. I've just rode it back to its owner's garage, and we'll swap it for the Lightning that should still be in there. Sorry, I turned it off so you didn't hear it ticking over, but it is ticking over well. It's riding a lot better. The clutch is a bit heavy and biting a bit too early, but it did ride pretty well. The front brakes working, but the pads need bedding in again, I think, but it is improving. Forks are working well. So yeah, it's quite an enjoyable ride over actually. Motors needs a little bit of tuning, the odd spit actually, so it probably needs to be a little bit richer on the pilot jets. But not bad at all. So there we are. We'll leave it at that. And I think this bike will be coming up for sale, but I'll let you know on the channel when it does. There we are, 1973 T150V 5-speed with beauty kit. Cheers everybody, thanks for watching the series. Thanks for your interest, any comments and subscriptions. I'll see you all again soon. Cheers.